Hello everyone, it's time to talk Moira, because honestly she has me beaming from ear to ear. But before we have a little bit of a more in-depth look at how she works and some gameplay and all that jazz, I actually want to talk about her lore because it's incredibly interesting. And the thing is, Moira wasn't teased, no one predicted it in a you know, like, oh, it's gonna be that character there from that artwork. I mean, I predicted it in the general sense, but you know, I won't go on about that. No, seriously, I'll rein that in for this video. But you know what I'm saying, right? This was effectively a surprise hero until she started running around in that reveal trailer. The possibilities were infinite, and that's the first time that's truly happened. So what's really neat, at least to me, is how they've chosen to slot her into the existing Overwatch canon, because they really had free reign to do it however they wanted, and the way that they chose is awesome. So she was basically a scientist doing what she felt like doing, which was incredibly unethical genetic engineering, you know, with an admittedly noble goal of fixing diseases, disorders, and, you know, a little drop of Doomfist maximizing human potential going in there, like every good, slightly crazy scientist. However, of course, her fellow scientist types were like, Stop combining rats with owls. We don't need rowels. And she was like, oh, but then she got shut down because people tend to not feel very comfortable when you are literally rewriting the building blocks that make their very being. However, she, on the brink of, well, just having her career ended, was hired by Blackwatch, Overwatch's secret covert ops division, where they basically said, you know, combine as many rats with owls as you want. We will not question you. We won't judge you. But we will give you a lot of research money. Hey!
Got a head full of stacks. Better grab an umbrella. I make it right.
And they, well, did exactly that. And she went to town, rapidly progressing her genetic engineering. And she tried loads of different things, from the looks, creating weapons, and hell, even modifying the bodies of Blackwatch members. In fact, as it turns out, Moira is responsible for Reaper being how he is. You literally see her giving him these smoke-like abilities in her backstory. And this was, of course, before Overwatch disbanded, which means that her doing this to Gabriel is most likely a huge factor in what contributed to him surviving the explosion. And I think this is fantastic. We've now got this missing link that actually reveals to us what created Reaper, because there was a lot of assumption Mercy was involved, but this essentially debunks that. And they did say that Moira used to work with Mercy before she was kind of relegated and secretly hired as Blackwatch, which means that she likely is using Mercy's healing technology as the basis for what she did to Reaper. So in a technical way, Mercy helped, but this very much nips it in the bud that the non-canon in-game voice interactions don't in fact imply that Mercy was directly responsible in any kind of way. And when Mercy's like, what happened to you, Reaper? And Reaper replies with, you tell me, Doc. Apparently that is just genuinely, he's asking, you seriously, tell me, please, you are a doctor, like, what the fuck is going on with this? And I feel like that makes actually a lot more sense, and that's absolutely fantastic. Moira diddled with Reaper's insides, which I should have phrased better, and enhanced him, air quotes, if you can consider it that, in some way, and, well, started the process of turning him into Ghost Deathman. And this has a number of very interesting implications. This, to me, would mean that if Overwatch had never disbanded, Blackwatch would have continued existing, and Reaper would have become, well, Reaper-y, dispersey, shadowy, death machine-y, while still being a member of Blackwatch. So he'd be doing covert missions for Overwatch, but also still turning into the Wraith form, which means the process of which he became that thing isn't actually tied to his thirst for revenge on Overwatch, because how could it, unless he didn't know what he was signing up for? But then it would be specifically on Moira, and it's clearly not, because he's happy to work with her as a member of Talon. And the thing is, what Reaper says when Anna recognizes him with the mask off now makes a lot of sense. He did this to me, Anna. They left me to become this thing. He being, of course, Morrison, the fight, the explosion in the facility that presumably killed them both. We know it didn't actually kill either, but, you know, that's what everyone was working with the assumption of. So he has to have been reduced to an awful state, left there by Morrison Soldier, because either he didn't want to rescue him, left him for dead, thought he was dead, whatever, and then Reaper did slowly regenerate into this. So to me, that means that before the explosion, Reaper had Reaper powers in the form of Blackwatch Gabriel Rays, and then post-explosion, because he was so badly damaged, yes, he still regenerated, but in order to regenerate from that state of near death, he had to become, well, this monstrous, deformed, just thing in order to keep living, and now he is in this constant agony. What Moira did to him, coupled with that explosion and the subsequent regeneration, is the perfect storm that births Reaper. And that, yes, I like it. It also somewhat means that I feel like Reaper's motive for revenge on Overwatch is a little bit misplaced. I kind of get the impression he doesn't fully understand why he's like this, despite being part of these tests with Moira, because it's clearly on her. Granted, you know, he will blame Morrison, Overwatch, the explosion, it falling apart, them not doing things his way, and basically the woulda, coulda, shoulda type scenario, if only you'd listened to good old Gabriel, none of this would have happened type revenge. But the thing is, he can't intrinsically just decide that it's Soldiers and therefore, ergo, Overwatch's fault he regenerated into this thing, because it's not, well, their fault at all, right? So there's definitely something going on there. I'm also very excited for him to canonically bump into McCree or Genji again, because I don't think they have met in anything other than in-game, which doesn't count, since he became Reaper. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong there, but that should be definitely fantastic. So, the other major drop here is that Vishkar, Symmetra's company, the people responsible for Hard Light, are in some way tied to Talon, perhaps even Talon's legitimate front. And the reason this is because Sanjay, who is an employee of Vishkar, was with Symmetra in her comic, is in the Architect Hard Light People School, is just straight up sat on the Talon Council. In both the Masquerade comic at the bottom right and in this most recent Moira backstory. So clearly there's one of three things happening. Vishkar is dealing with Talon but not tied to them, and Sanjay's just their representative. Sanjay is working for Talon while betraying Vishkar, he's working for Vishkar while betraying Talon, or Vishkar and Talon are just, well, genuinely working together on a full-on level, and Sanjay is the correspondent between them. No matter which one it is, that's still a big deal, because if Talon gets hold of Hardlight technology, that means suddenly we could be seeing a Hardlight-based Talon hero, and that's the kind of tech that really is abusable in the wrong hands. And think about it, what does Vishkar do? They rebuild neighborhoods with Hardlight technology. Why would a neighborhood need rebuilding? Well, Talon have done their thing there, and a lot of destruction has happened, so that kind of works in of itself. And the thing is, Moira is also also separately tied to Vishkar because she was a part of Oasis, the place for super brilliant scientists, of which she is. She even has an Oasis skin, and she also therefore will likely have connections to potentially Symmetra. Her story maybe is going to expand hers, which would be really cool because we just don't know enough about Vishkar or Symmetra really, and it's a really interesting facet of the Overwatch universe. There's definitely some more shady corporation stuff going on, which seems to be a theme with Overwatch. Hell, Sanjay also had correspondence with Lumerico, the one that Sombra's got an issue with, which means that maybe this conglomerate of various huge companies might honestly be collectively the big, bad, secret thing that Sombra's so against, of which Talon is either unaware or just a smaller facet of. So there's definitely more and more of an overarching complex web of something being built and hinted towards here, and that's really exciting. And the thing is, Moira herself is infused with whatever this is that turned Reaper into Reaper, right? Her Wraith ability, which is really cool, you totally instantly go invisible and run really, really quickly and appear somewhere else. It's very fantastically useful. You can just be somewhere else in a blink of an eye, and it seems very confusing to play against. The gameplay, by the way, is courtesy of a streamer called Moon, who plays an absolutely amazing Roadhog, and you know, he's my Roadhog hero. Seriously though, he is a very, very good player if you like watching good quality Overwatch gameplay, because you're not here for that. Oh god. But no, that's in the description. Either way, Moira herself is definitely using Reaper-esque powers, but a lot less destructively. You can see it in game. Her left hand is human, normal, fine. Her right hand looks like it is decaying, you know? It's going purple. I think you can almost see veins. It's definitely suffering from having this decaying version of the substance being used with it flowing around it. And it seems like Moira herself is half being boosted to life on one side of her body and half being slowly killed on the other, which is perfect, right? She's totally the type of scientist that goes, well, I've had my funding retracted and I'm out of options, so I will test my risky research on myself. Oh, but in her case, it seems like she pulled it off, honestly, and now she's got this suit which probably regulates and administers the amount of this substance that she needs to operate effectively, and well, damn, she can operate effectively. So she's got these two orbs then, each of them lasts 9 seconds, they bounce around the place, and apparently they can do 200 damage to each enemy at top, and 300 healing to each ally at top. That doesn't take the entire 9 seconds, but that is the most it will do, so it seems like it stops damaging and healing after a point. It will just freely bounce around the place and moves pretty damn quickly. You can do a lot of cool little skilled plays with this because it does bounce, and I love the idea of some more bouncing action. I really, really do. Her left click then just a spray, fairly long range, longer than May's, and you can just literally spray up all of your allies. It's got quite a wide little cone and it will get everyone that's in it. Her right click is probably 3 times Symmetra range in terms of locking on. Less damage, but once it gets going, it is really appreciable for how easy it is to just look at someone and damage them. For example, you can comfortably kill a Pharah who's jump jetted and is floating above you with this thing. Like, you're definitely not at flying airborne heroes mercy, which is really, really cool. And then you've got the ulti, which is just huge damage and healing to everyone that it passes through. Definitely not the crazy amount required to out-heal a Pharah ult, but it is very much appreciable and looks a little bit weird from the perspective of Moira herself, because it looks really thin and tiny, whereas from everyone else it's this huge, thick, girthy beam, but I'm sure that's just because it would be ridiculous if on your screen your entire view is just filled with this huge ash mesh of light and dark mixing in front of you, because you won't be able to see or aim anything, so it does look kind of comically thin when you're the one firing it. But yeah, her abilities honestly are all very simple to understand, but seemingly very, very effective. Like, she has the ability to get really aggressive, especially especially with the ult, because you just press it, start walking forward, beaming people down, your allies come in, you shift to them, give them a little bit of a top up, then wheel the beam right round and start depleting the enemy's health, and it lets you just destroy through an entrenched position, through a Reinhardt shield, and really force them to react to it. And the thing is, your allies can just run through the beam into the enemy, then double up on the healing and the damage at the same time. If you can be at the back of a fight and then just zoom, 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 left and right your beam, back and forth in a wave, damaging and healing literally everyone, well then that's your ideal situation and you're happy as Larry. But the balls themselves are fantastic. The damage one is a great poking tool. Send it bouncing around the enemy's position. Maybe they're about to attack the point, you send it bouncing through them. The healing one lets you bounce it onto the point as you're running back and heal your allies before you actually arrive yourself. It lets you push with them, have it bounding around an enclosed control point, like on Nepal, the one that's kind of outside with it's like a room and there's two ends. You know what I'm talking about. If you got it bouncing around there, it's just going to be really good. It's just extra healing constantly happening. Same with damage. In enclosed spaces, this thing seems monstrously powerful. It just seems like you can do a lot. The versatility of Moira seems absolutely crazy. Just from flamethrower healing everyone, then quickly switching to melt someone off guaranteed. Because the thing is, a lock-on damage source means that anyone who's low, you can't avoid just being sniped off by it. You see a Tracer on 20 health, you lock onto her and she's gonna melt. You don't have to worry about your aim. It gives you really loads of abilities to finish off weakened enemies, or just lock onto one who's normally an issue and just get them out the way. Imagine a Genji jumping on Moira, being dove. You throw the healing ball around, then lock your right click on him, and he can't do anything really. He'd have to be inconceivably accurate with his shurikens to even slightly have a hope of killing you before you kill him, and that is really cool. The chief thing that I get from Moira that I think we're all going to appreciate is that she can defend herself really well. She is a threat to anyone, honestly, despite being technically a support, and that is totally something that we needed. She is good in most maps, most situations, better in others, sure, but she has that utility, that versatility, and just that raw power to be an asset to a lot of teams, assuming the numbers are tuned correctly. So yeah, there you go. That's my initial impressions before I can get my hands on her myself, and I think we're good. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover from BlizzCon, but I think between the 3 videos I've made, I've done everything. But for now, like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Oh, goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video flow, shenanigans in Overwatch, and his fans all know that every single thumbnail that this man makes without fail makes you do a double take, catching your attention with every verse. See, say that you need healing but you're at his mercy. Get it? Cause it's a pun. On his channel, that's one of the better ones. Widow is venomous, I see no end to this. Cataclysm's imminent when Rage is in his element. Pandemonium is not familiar with irrelevance. Maximum Genji beam, oh so elegant. Jokes so funny, causing you to cry. Editing is quality as the noon is high. Yo, concussion man, shoot to the sky. Cap it all off with a goodbye.